Yeah.
because I did have one person already scheduled for last week, but last week is honestly when my world just went to shambles. So
Oh
I had
no.
to like ask for rescheduling, and but I think it's perfect that you're the first one because you're sort of,
Yeah.
besides Victor, you are the first one that I got in touch with, and how I
Yeah.
discovered Gathering of Tribes.
Yeah, yeah, I think it's perfect too.
Yeah.
And I wanted to ask you actually on the technical side, how does it work if, well, I guess I'll just follow your lead actually, it's fine, I trust you. I was about to say if they ask questions, because I won't see your screen, right? I'll just see you and your video.
Yes. They are
Yeah.
seeing you and me, and
Yeah.
they are hearing you and me, and I can
Mm-hmm.
see if they ask questions, and I can also tell you if it interests you how many people are watching. Some people like to ask, some people don't. Like I've interviewed one person, but it was not Gathering of Tribes related, and this person he wants to he wants to do a podcast. So I was also
Yeah.
trying to get it like I'm already doing it, and I'm introducing people to this space,
Yeah.
and yeah, we already have some people joining us, so that's
Nice.
amazing. Okay, um, let's just dive in. I would love for you to tell whoever is watching right now, and probably also from the future, hi future, I hope it's nice. Um, who are you, how we met, and why do you how did you even find time in your busy schedule for being here with me today?
Well, first of all, I found time because this is what I do every day. So it wasn't, yeah, it wasn't a question, and it's this whole project and initiative is super dear to my heart, and I'm sure we will dive into it in more details later. I met you, well, through Victor, who is my co-founder at the Gathering of Tribes, but I think the original connection came from someone you knew and a few regenerative initiatives. The one I remember is TDF, which is for, yeah, those who are watching the traditional Dream Factory, really interesting project
Yeah.
in South Portugal, land-based project, community building, doing a lot of really interesting stuff, including in the crypto space. Yeah, and the region world is actually really small. There's not that many people, or at least if there are many people, everyone seems to know one another.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess that's how we met, and yeah, I'm really glad we did. And then I don't even know how it came about. Maybe it was Victor's idea. But yeah, I guess we offered you to partner with
Yeah.
us and to do this thing, and this transformed into, well, this what is gonna become a series, I guess. But this is the first episode of it, which yeah, it's just about you asking questions to people who have something to say about
Yeah.
regeneration, I
Yeah.
guess, to
Yeah.
simplify it.
And how was the journey for you? How did you come to your
Mm,
place in like how did you discover the topic even?
yeah, good question. So, I mean, I took a few turns to get here, and I've always felt like I was in the liminal spaces, in between spaces all the time, and I feel like I've kind of found my place with the regenerative space because it is a space that's in between spaces by definition,
Yeah.
and it very much sort of allows for that flexibility. It doesn't try to put you in a box, at least how I'm experiencing it. But I studied philosophy and literature, and then I thought I would should probably do something that would allow me to get a job, and so I then went on to study business management, which was
Mm.
quite different.
Sorry, this is a bit
Um,
bright for me. Yes, but I'm listening.
and I started my career in fintech startups in
Okay.
London. Did that for a year or two, and then I realized I just couldn't hold it. I really needed something that was meaning making for me. I not that it was something important, it just was something necessary. Like I just couldn't handle going to work every day and not having the feeling of directly putting my energy into something that made my condition as a human being on this floating planet
Yeah.
somewhat meaningful, basically.
Do you
So
feel
I,
you found it?
sorry.
Do you feel you found it already?
God, no.
Okay, still searching.
No,
Still
absolutely
searching.
not. I'm searching. I'm
Yeah.
finding things that allow me to like keep going on, but definitely still searching, and I think I will be until the end of my life. And I guess that's how it is, and it's
Yeah.
fine. Um, it's yeah, somewhat fun, sometimes less so, but yeah,
But you know when
depending on
it's
the
not.
waves of the existential crisis, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry.
You know, at least you know what it's not, right? You try and then you kind of
Exactly.
feel, okay, is this it? Is probably no. Yeah. No, I
That's it.
totally get you. I also studied, you know. I mean, I went to study economics um, for the opposite reason. I felt that I do know what my purpose is, and
Mm.
I felt that I can do it. Like, okay, I can, you know, go to save seals and save 10 per day or 10 per year, or I can go study economics and build my way up and then save
Mm.
hundreds, right? But in the end, like I feel that we do have some things that are very similar. You're also a yoga teacher.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you actively teach still?
No, I was teaching last year when I was in Greece, but now I'm not anymore.
Okay.
Yeah, for many reasons, but right now mostly because I'm moving all the time.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I'm really not into online. Well,
Mm.
I'm not into following classes online, and so I'm
Yeah.
just not into teaching them online, I guess.
Yeah.
And also, even if I was to do that, it would require a minimum of stability, and my life consists of
Yeah.
sleeping in my friends' and colleagues' houses and really moving around a lot. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Are
Yeah.
you teaching?
I'm teaching only one on one, and
Okay.
I'm teaching more in a sense of like I don't ask money for it. For me, it's karma yoga
Yeah.
because it's you know I'm getting better as a teacher, and if I can along my way help somebody elevate their practice, then that's all that I
Mm,
need. But
nice.
I'm also very fresh. I just finished my teacher training in November.
Yeah. What kind of yoga was it?
Ashtanga.
Mm,
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, I love the discipline. It's some people can even feel that's like, you know, do I like the rules? Yes, I do. Kind of. Do I like to break them sometimes? Yes, I do. But
Yeah, I
okay,
feel
so
you.
coming from the business and figuring out, okay, this is not what I want to be in. When was the breakthrough into regeneration?
So there was a few more phases before I found regeneration.
Okay.
The one immediately after business was nonprofit
Hmm.
management. So after this, I was in London and I moved into the nonprofit world. Yeah, just pivoted, found a job in a very cool organization called the Blair Foundation for Women, and I was working there for a while, basically supporting women entrepreneurs with access to financing
Yeah.
and business advice and so on. Did that for a while, and then I moved to another organization called Mary Stopes International, which works mostly in sub-Saharan Africa in women's health.
Hmm.
And there I spent quite some time, 3 or 4 years, I think, managing programs in women's health in sub-Saharan Africa. And when I got this job, the second one at Mary Stopes, um I was like, this is my dream job. That's it. Like, this is so beautiful and it's perfect. And I was really in awe of one having been able to find this job somehow from my background, which was really unusual. And yeah, I was loving it and I was really engaged and so engaged that I ended up burning myself out, but it was also from a new loss of meaning, um, which came from the fact that after having spent quite some time in that sector and in that company, I realized that actually it wasn't that aligned
Hmm.
because the development sector is, I don't know, I could talk about this for hours. It's a true rabbit hole, or a kind of worms, but eh, I don't think the sector has managed to decolonize itself. Basically, there's still very much this, for me at least, how I felt it. I didn't feel like I was anyone to go to Africa and tell people what they should do.
Yeah.
Basically. I mean, the development sector is called the development sector, and it's based on the idea that some countries are more developed than others, right?
Yeah.
And there isn't necessarily that much thought put into, well, what does it mean to be developed?
Yeah.
And the problem is that because you're talking about topics that are complicated, right? You're talking about I don't know, like improving maternal health in Kenya, making sure that mothers don't die when they give birth, or providing access to food, so really basic human needs. I think it can allow the sector as a whole to not question itself because we're the good guys, right? Like we're bringing them food and we're building hospitals, but there is not at all enough, they're starting, but there is not enough consideration put into context,
Mm.
like what is good for that country,
Yeah.
are you just going to take whatever was done in France and in the UK and
Yeah.
plaster it on top of it? And it's all very complex issues, but the point is that it stopped making sense for me.
Yeah.
um there was this element, the post-colonialism element, and there was another element which was the process. So basically, the I realized that even though this whole sector was really aiming towards creating a new world, so there was already a little bit of a seed of what you find in the regenerative space, but the process through which that was being done was was is really the process of the old world,
Mm.
right? As we call it, meaning you're working 16 hours a day for not enough money. The hierarchies in the companies are very top down. It's usually men at the top, even in women's health, and then women underneath them. It's very structured. There's no space for creativity. So many elements, basically, that makes the organizations themselves very, yeah, old school. I get
Mm.
very dependent on funding. And this I couldn't recognize myself in
Yeah.
it after a while. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then COVID happened, so it was like a conjunction of crises in my life.
Yeah.
And I moved to Portugal and then I discovered community places, community projects, initiatives, uh, people living close to the land,
Yeah.
people really taking a step completely outside of the system, like to
Yeah.
the extreme even.
Yeah.
And there I really got into community building, started a project with some friends, and there I was sort of unconsciously, or I wasn't aware, but I was really, that was the last element that I was missing
Mm.
to really sort of enter the regenerative world. And yeah, created this project with some friends, and then I met Victor, who organized the first gathering of tribes on the land that I was stewarding at the time. And yeah, and for me it was incredible because in this land-based project I lived beautiful experiences, and it was, yeah, it was a huge learning, a lot of beauty, a lot of challenges also.
Mm.
But also I really had to leave behind me my business mindset.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't, I wasn't working on my computer so much anymore. I was on the land
Yeah.
mostly, so on and so forth. And I was missing it so much actually, but I didn't want to admit it to myself. I was
Yeah.
like, no, this is land,
Yeah.
not good to be on a computer. And so when Victor came and when I experienced the first edition of the Gathering of Tribes, I was like, can I do both? Like,
Mm.
is there a world where I can really like, harness what I know my skills are? Because that's it. I'm not a tree planter. I'm not a
Yeah.
permaculture teacher. I would never be. I admire those people a lot and
Mm.
I want to support them, but I know that's not what my function in society is.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and so I've really found in this space in
Cool.
between, which is the regenerative space, something that I feel, yeah, really really aligned with.
Yeah.
But that's, yeah, a short version of the whole story.
So when was the first gathering of tribes?
September 2022.
Okay.
So almost 2 years ago, and we'll be hosting a gathering in Portugal at least once every 2 years.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Every
So
two,
the next one is September 2024. Yeah,
and then 26.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think it would be interesting to change location, or do you want to keep it Portugal based?
Good question. I was about to bring it, and I was like, I think you're gonna ask me. Yeah, actually, because we've been on so many calls for the past 6 months with brilliant people from the space from really around the world.
Yeah.
And one thing that came up very quickly was, oh gosh, okay, this is a movement and we need a gathering in Latin America for sure. We need one in North America for sure. There's so many people and brilliant initiatives that are there that would be calling to hold that space also.
Yeah.
India and Pakistan. Also, there's a lot of stuff happening. They're really amazing people, so we have our eyes on this.
Yeah.
Um, so we don't know yet. We're playing a lot with the ideas of what does the gathering of tribes look like at global
Mm.
level.
Mm.
But for now, what we know is that we do want to keep it in Portugal once every 2 years,
Yeah.
which would be the European gathering. And then we're thinking that maybe every other year we may or co-organize one in
Yeah.
another location. And we don't know what the system will be yet. We would love to have leaders basically in the location that show up, right, and that we
Mm.
can partner with. But we would need people who are local, who have the energy to
Mm.
just to make it happen. We will
Yeah.
need make it happen people in all those countries. Yeah, and then we're on a roll. We take the concept, we contextualize it, of course, we adapt it so that it really answers and speaks to the place, right, to the
Yeah.
location. Different locations have different needs and expectations. And yeah, and we make it a big, beautiful global movement. That's the idea.
So the first place, the first community that you've experienced was TDF?
No,
No,
I've never been to TDF
no,
actually.
you haven't.
No, I
Even
was
I've been.
living like 40 minutes away from it and I haven't set foot on TDF land yet. I will, I have
Yeah,
to.
yeah.
But yeah, I haven't. No,
Okay.
I mean, I would say the first community I experienced was the Salvage community. So for those who don't know, Salvage is this tiny village in the Alentejo in South Portugal. For you, Lydia, it's like, yeah, 30 minutes south of
Okay.
TDF, more or
Okay.
less. And this is not a community in the sense of a group of people live on the land together. It's more decentralized because it's more a community of communities
Mm.
basically that is really around that small village.
Mm.
So in the past, I would say 5 to 7 years, uh, a lot now of people have bought pieces of land in the surrounding area and have created their own project. And so now you have this really interesting ecosystem of communities with each their own flavor and colors, and textures, but all of them clearly working towards something very similar, which
Yeah.
is how can we live better, right?
Yeah.
How can we just stop suffering, basically?
Yeah.
And so yeah, my first experience was sort of this ecosystem of communities where you go to Salvation every other day in the spring, summer, autumn period. There is an event,
Mm.
whether it's like a market on this community land or a council course on this one or a pizza party on this one, and it really rotates and it creates this very interesting group of quite a lot, more than a couple hundred people
Mm.
basically, who either live there or pass by or are friends of,
Yeah.
who are really like tightly connected. Um, yeah, so that was the first. And then I created my own, right? We created this collective with friends that was called the Skanking Farmers. It's now Wild Forest Garden. It's turned into a agroforestry project,
Mm-hmm.
which was all about community building. We were organizing space, I mean, creating spaces and organizing events to bring this whole community that I was talking about together. And this was really off the back of COVID. So there was
Mm.
this huge gaping hole in people
Yeah.
that really wanted to be together again and know why they were here and get this feeling of connection that they had moved to Portugal for, right?
Mm.
Um, so yeah, that was the intention. And yeah, once you've experienced community, it's hard to go back. That's the problem.
Would you say community is also a good place for an introvert?
I'm an introvert, big
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I'm really good. I love having like my people
Yeah.
around me, but my people are a really small group of
Yeah.
people.
No, same. Small circle.
Yeah, exactly. And with those, I'm super extroverted,
Yeah.
but in big groups, I'm really uncomfortable, which is
Yeah.
funny because I was, yeah, organizing festivals for a few years. Yeah, absolutely. I think people tend to underestimate, and it's normal, how complicated, sorry, not complicated, how complex community living is.
Yeah.
Um, I I still want community, but I want my own space, for
Yeah.
example. So I've now understood that for me to thrive in a community, I need certain conditions that I wasn't aware of before, and so I wasn't setting my own boundaries because I was. It's what you were saying earlier, right? Like you try, and then you're like, yeah, not that,
No.
not that. And so if it's not that, then what is it?
Yeah.
And for me, it was this. It was. It's not. Don't throw the baby with the bathwater, right? It's not. At some point, I really wanted to throw the whole community away because I was like, it's too
Mm.
much. I can't, and I'm an introvert, and
Yeah.
but it's not this actually for me. It's just I know I need my own space.
Yeah.
I need my own room. I need doesn't matter, right? I need my desk. I need a space for me to work in by myself.
Yeah.
And then I can go out and really like feed from the community and give that nourishment back
Yeah.
to people also. But without that, then the whole thing gets completely, I mean, for me, right, can get, yeah, complex, challenging, very
Yeah.
challenging. Because also we need to remember we haven't lived in community as humans for a couple generations
Yeah.
now, right? So we don't know how to do it anymore, and we don't necessarily have the tools. Yeah.
Yeah. I even feel like it's ridiculous how in these big cities, right? You have a apartment building and we're all like small, ants,
Hmm.
living above and next to each other, and then so often you don't even know who your neighbors are, right?
Hmm.
And they're just on the other side of that wall.
Yeah.
And how beautiful it can be if people decide to actually live together because there is
Yeah.
something bigger that brings them there, right?
Yeah.
And okay, so two questions now. I'm a little bit torn between them where to go first, but let's go for that meaning, let's go for that vision, shared vision that these people do have. Regeneration is a topic that is more familiar to me, but perhaps not to the viewers. And
Hmm.
what is very familiar to everyone on this planet is sustainability, right? And
Hmm.
okay, if when I hear the word sustain, like okay, for there's one way of like looking at sustainability from like the ecological perspective, where we are
Yeah.
being taught to recycle and shut the water off when you're brushing your teeth because we want to save water and stuff. But sustainability in economical perspective basically just means to keep things running the way they
Sustain.
are.
Hmm.
And the way they are running on this planet is not good anymore. So this is how I how I understood regeneration, like as a very lay person. I only came into the space maybe September last year, and I'm understanding. Okay, regeneration is actually improving, not just keeping what we have, because what we have is plastic in the ocean, and I don't want to keep it there. Let's do something about it, right? So how do you feel about people who maybe, or not people, like how do you feel about this topics sometimes being taken as the same thing when they're not really, does it trigger you? Do you want to
Yeah.
over explain or
Yeah, I can share my opinion. It doesn't trigger me because honestly, no one knows. And that's actually one of the main triggers, and I guess maybe one of the main criticism of regeneration as a whole and the use of the word regeneration. I mean, we hear it a lot at the Gathering of Tribes, which is like, okay, you keep talking about regeneration. What is the definition of regeneration? And the answer is always the same. It's like, I don't know. I can give you my version of it. There's no agreed upon definition. Um, and some people freak out. Some people are like, there should be a definition. Like, how can you talk about something that doesn't have a
I
definition?
mean, define love. It's the same. Like,
I
means
guess.
different thing for
Nice.
everyone,
Yeah, I
right?
guess. Yeah. And so to go back to your question, yeah, sustainability and regeneration. I mean, yeah, a lot of people actually use sustainability to define regeneration, meaning exactly what you just did, which is sustainability was this idea that we need to sustain. I mean, I guess the original definition of sustainability was we have to sustain the planet, right? So like, how can we live in a way that it is
Livable.
sustained? Yeah, exactly. It's interesting because in French, sustainability is translated into développement durable, which means kind of sustainable
Mm.
development.
Mm-hmm.
So it's quite different already,
Mm.
actually. But
Yeah.
I like to use the French definition because it has the word development
Yeah.
in it, which is growth. And I guess this is a good way to define regeneration.
Yeah.
For me, the main difference is regeneration is holistic, meaning it really carries in it, and I think actually almost everyone will agree on that. It really carries in it this idea that we're talking about something holistic and we're talking at systems level. Sustainability is still thinking into boxes, the SDGs,
Yeah.
right? The Sustainable Development Goals. They're literally a set of boxes.
Yeah.
And in regeneration, there is really this idea that we need to engage the right hemisphere of our brain much more, right? Meaning we need to feel into it. We need to bring our intuition. We need to understand that we're integrated human beings, that we're not a brain and then emotions and then a body. That all of this works together in the same way that in today's system everything works together, right? We have a very complex world. We pull a branch and we don't know actually what consequences that's going to bring. And so yeah, and so there's really this element of, to go back to what I was saying earlier about the international development companies I was working for. It's like you can't do regeneration if you're not doing personal development.
Mm-hmm.
You can't be a company that is trying to have a regenerative output, meaning I will, I don't know, save X dolphins this year, if you're not regenerative as an organization. And what that means, this is up for debate, but for sure the intention there is that how can you save dolphins while creating non-hierarchical structures in your organization that support everyone's professional and personal development?
Mm.
How can you bring out like your employees or your staff or your colleagues' creativity while doing that work? How can you break down structures
Mm.
so that you can see what emerges and respond to it rather than plan and stay within the boxes,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So there is something, I guess, a bit more philosophical
It's,
behind the idea
I
of
would even say
regeneration.
religious, you know, because if
Yeah.
you think about the fact that, okay, let's start from, from inside and from, investing into our people and allowing them to find a way to regenerate. Like technically we
Hmm.
regenerate every night, right? We go in through the sleep cycle and all of our cells and get us ready for the next day. But yeah, I love that. I love that you see the connection of people who are um, focusing on their own growth, then having the ability to help others grow, help plants grow, help the world grow, right? Because
Yeah.
when you're broken and battered and destroyed, well, there was this very beautiful quote that if you're not broken and battered and destroyed, then you're probably really boring at parties, right? But at the same time, if
Or
you are in
sleep.
that space,
Mm.
you're not able to help anyone. You're not able to help yourself. You're not able to help anyone.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would go even further by saying that it's very non-linear, actually. So there is really everything I'm saying is not. I'm not
That's
talking on
good.
behalf of the
No, no,
regenerative
no. That's
movement,
your
right? This
view.
is just my.
Yeah,
Mm, but there is, for me, really this moving away from linearity as well, which means it's not actually, I would say, that we are regenerating ourselves so that we can bring it out into the world, is that we're recognizing, as you were saying, we're going to sleep every night. We're recognizing that there is this, ooh, nice. Thank you. I'm in Victor's house and he has this very fancy lighting. Is that we're recognizing that this is all going on at the same time.
yeah,
What's true is that if I don't understand that, I need to directly embed into the process of my external work, right? Like what I want to give out to the world and to the people, my karma yoga,
yeah,
no? That I want to embed into that my own development, because if I am unable to regenerate my own energy, then I won't be able to put it out anymore at some point, which is why so many people burn out, right? Including myself a couple of years ago. Then it's not going to work. And so it's like, how can we create those cycles where actually my work also feeds myself,
Yeah.
as well as other things? And I feed my work, but I also understand that other elements feed into it. So there is also, yeah, to go back to what you were saying about the more religious or spiritual focus and philosophical, there's this a big element of letting go for me in regeneration, which is putting the ego aside a little bit. For me, it's really about being in service. So putting the ego aside and understanding that I have contributed to something. Yeah, like I recognize my value and I have contributed to something.
Yeah.
Like in at the end of September 2024, I will have contributed to making the gathering happen because I put a million hours into it. Fine. However, I understand that a multitude of other energies and elements that I could control or couldn't control have also contributed. And I understand that my little human brain cannot possibly comprehend how many elements have contributed
Yeah.
to this one output, right? And if you extrapolate that to everything that we do, then yeah, you have a regenerative mindset.
You know, you know the 8 limbs of Ashtanga yoga.
Yeah.
Yeah, the eighth one, right? Oneness with all. Is
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I am. Uh, I don't think I can get there in this life. I hope to get there in one life, right? But there are certain moments when you can feel it, and there are also some tiny things that we feel every day. You know, like why would
Mm-hmm.
I harm? Why would I wish harm? Like you know,
Mm-hmm.
why should there be such a feeling inside me, right? Why
Yeah.
should even like this is something that my grandpa used to tell me, and I've lost him very recently, so it's also
Mm.
thinking of him always brings me, you know, this like what a great man, you know. And when I was super young, I was, you know, I would get like a piece of paper and I was just bored and I was just tearing it up. And he was like, why destroy? Create, you know? And
Interesting.
just this sentence stuck with me so much. Like, yeah, why am I destroying? Like if okay, it's a piece of paper, I can do something with it or I can just leave it be.
Mm.
But why destroy, you know?
Oof. Yeah.
And
I
then some people also tell you that, you know, this that disruptive, you know, disruptive process is also important, right? To create a new and to yeah, complicate it and
no, but it's really beautiful what you're saying, and I mean, as someone who is really into order but also chaos, I do have a relationship with, yeah, what you're saying, this idea of destruction, right? And it it to bring it back to regeneration, actually, it reminds me of something, an idea that I've been, I don't know, playing with for a while, and that we've been talking a lot about at some of the gathering online sessions also, which is how to let things die when their time is gone.
yeah.
And this came through, it can come through so many angles, but it was coming through last week, the topic of regenerative leadership and what it means. And we were brainstorming and having those great conversations about that. And what it came down to for me was, well, regenerative leadership is a leadership that knows how to die, meaning that again is in response to the environment. And for me, it's this ability to be able to take the lead when there is a vacuum and where you're needed, to recognize that, but also to be able to step down or to change roles or to go away or to just completely disappear from a certain project when it's done. And this can also apply to initiatives, right? Like a business hasn't necessarily failed when it's done. It's done. Move on. You know, leave space for something new in the same way that, I don't know, if this comes up a lot in my family around generations, right? I come from a family of farmers, or I don't know if you know farmers, they're really attached to their farms because, well, they've poured their entire lives into it. And the topic comes back again and again when those farmers have to to hand over to their sons and daughters or to someone else. And I mean, my grandparents are 80 and 90 years old respectively, and they're still unable to hand over. And so there is this element which is obviously very emotional and whatever. I won't tell you my family story, but there is this element of let go, like let the new come in. You have to let the new come in. But as a society, we've really forgotten how to do that. And for me, it goes back to we're so identified with our egos and our identities in the world. Then when time comes to let go and to separate ourselves from our job, which is a part of our identity, our role in the family, anything else, we're really struggling, right? So I don't know if it's destruction, but there is this idea of death or of like disappearing into a space when you're not needed, meaning understanding
Detachment.
your function that I find beautiful.
Yeah. We
Yeah.
it's incredible that you're mentioning this because literally yesterday we had a it was my first time being able to stream after 5 days, so right now I have to catch up with 5 streams. But I took an hour just talking about attachment and detachment and about
Mm.
how for me attachment always means, people, family, love, friends. And it was in the yoga teacher training when I realized that I'm also attached to things, and why should I? And then again, like sometimes it's so nice to have something that reminds me of home, and I am attached to a thing, but in the end, it's just a thing. And if anything, I should be grateful for the feeling, but not for the thing. And
Oh, yeah.
similarly
Yeah.
with letting go and understanding when it's your time to not spend your time on a project anymore, or even on a relationship, if you think of it that
Hmm.
way, is trying to, like, okay, I gave it my best, and now whatever I give more is just not beneficial for me or for the thing, right? So yeah, well,
Exactly that. Exactly. And it is for me, honestly, it is a relationship. It's the same.
yeah,
What is a relationship, right? And work actually is, I realized I was talking about a friend, but it's almost more intimate for me. It can be more intimate than a romantic relationship because when are you more vulnerable than in work to making mistakes and to people judging you and so on, right? Like you're at least as vulnerable for me in the professional space as you are in the personal space. So yeah, those are all relationships for me. And yeah, I'm fully with you on attachment. And I was also coming from yoga and all those teachings. I spent quite some years beating myself up quite a lot about, oh God, I have so many attachments and yes, there's this, but more and more I came to try to question things from the lens of, is it serving you?
yeah,
Like, is it serving me to smoke right now? It's really not. Now, whether it's a coping mechanism for something that I need to look at for therapy sessions, sure. Is it serving me to have a little thing that my mom gave me when I left home?
mm,
Yeah, actually,
yeah,
it is. And that's fine. And yes, it's attachment to a material thing, but it is serving me in this moment, and it's aligned, and it's yeah, supporting my journey. So fine. But I understand that I'm attached to it now, and I will let go of it when it's not serving me anymore. So there's like those subtle lines, no, they're super hard to
yeah,
put the finger on, but they're super important because they're for me what can move you from guilt and like self emotional guilt tripping towards I'm doing what supports my growth, actually.
yeah,
And a few of those things may be looking like attachments or they may be fully attachments, and that's okay because I know that by moving to the next step of the stages of development, I'll slowly be able to let go of them.
yeah.
Um, yeah,
You go inwards and you think about intention.
yeah, yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm not successful. This is all theory.
Yeah.
It's
You
just
are.
practices, right?
You
Like
are.
constant
You
practices.
are.
But yeah,
Give
yeah.
yourself credit. And
Thank
the
you.
the story you've told me just now is already something I would look up to, And I even have my own story, and I love my story. I wouldn't change it for the word, but hearing yours is already inspiring. So
Thank you.
tell me more about the regeneration talks, that because you've mentioned you've had just one
Mm.
a week ago, no, 2 weeks ago, about
Last Wednesday,
regeneration.
actually. Yeah.
Last Wednesday, but isn't the
Hmm.
next one this Wednesday?
There's a lot. I will
Okay.
tell you. There is another one tomorrow, yes. Yeah, it's hard to keep track, which is good, I guess. Yeah, I can tell you more. So, I mean, this whole series of online events
Yeah.
basically through, it came quite organically, actually. We didn't sit down and decide we were gonna have 60 online sessions in 6 months. Um, but I think it really sprouted from this idea or thing that we recognized early on with Victor, which was the gathering needs to be something that allows people to connect for action.
Yeah.
So in the really early stages of the idea, there was this sense that yes, going to an event where everyone agrees and you can preach to the choir for 5 days is lovely, but actually this is not what we're building. And so from this came two elements. One came the element of really putting a strong emphasis on diversity at the gathering, which is actually you're not going to preach to the choir because a lot of people are going to disagree
Mm.
because we're inviting people who come from such different
Mm.
backgrounds and are working on such different elements or topics of the regenerative movement, right? So this is a potential for interesting dialogue that can be triggering, but that will bring things up to the surface.
Yeah.
But then what came, the second element, which links to the online sessions, is the fact that actually, in order to bring people into a space where they can connect for action and actually um, have an event that directly benefits their organization or themselves or their projects, we needed to build it in the long term.
Mm.
You can't, I don't know, I would love to see it, but it's very, very hard to bring people for 5 days and within 5 days to build that level of connection where you're actually collaborating and building partnerships and so on. um and why? Because you're creating relationships that we were talking about earlier, and this takes time. It is what it is. Sometimes you connect immediately with someone, but most of the time it takes some time. And secondly, because you're creating a culture. And I don't believe you can create a culture. So backtrack. You're to take Victor's words, you're sowing the seeds of the culture that you wish for in the world, and you're letting things emerge. So we know some elements of that culture already, right? We know that we don't want people to be abusive towards each other. We know that we want people to have the hard conversations. We don't want this to be a people pleasing exercise.
Mm.
We want people to be able to be in conflict in a way that's nourishing and that supports their growth and many other elements. And to sow the seeds of a new culture, you need time, a lot of time and energy, and you need these recurrent spaces that come back again and again, that people come back to, where they understand what this is and they understand that it's safe, and they start building that collaboration. And so out of this element came out the couple sessions that we're running right now. I was about to say the key one, no, sorry. One of them, I'm saying the key one because it's my baby, is called Questioning Regeneration, which
Mm.
I'm working on in collaboration with Simon Grant, who's an amazing human being, and Vic Service is supporting. And Questioning Regeneration is a bi-weekly session, so on Wednesdays every 2 weeks. Yeah, again, next one is next Wednesday, and we're basically choosing a topic every session, and we're inviting people who are working really in depth in that topic to have an hour and a half long conversation, not giving answers. So if the topic is regenerative marketing, for example, I'm not interested in people coming saying, we are doing this in regenerative marketing and it's
Yeah.
great. This is also useful. There's so many spaces for this advertising, and it's great, and I value those spaces, but it's not what we're interested in here. This can happen at the gathering. We're just asking questions.
Yeah.
So basically, the sessions are just around how can we come together around the questions that for us define that space. So instead of saying, this is what regenerative marketing is, and this is what I'm doing, which really tends to pull you into the old world and the more ego-driven
Mm.
attitudes, and I'm doing this, which is really not conducive to collaboration because
Yeah.
you end up with opinions basically and statements and
Yeah.
facts we're asking questions. And the idea is that through asking questions, meaning instead of saying this is what region marketing is, saying for me, the question that really is there in regenerative marketing is how can we communicate to people in a way that it passes on the message and, whatever the question is. And the idea is that questions that are real question, in the words of Dave Snowden, are processes. If you're asking a question that you already have the answer to, it's not a question.
Mm.
It's a dishonest question.
Mm.
But we do it all the time. Like, how many times a day do I ask questions when I already have the answer and I just wait for the person to respond so I can give my answers? What do you think about? Oh, because I think that, right?
Yeah.
We do it so much. And it's really hard, actually, to stick with true, honest, in this context, honest questions. So that's what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
And it's been quite beautiful.
And
We're recording the sessions.
this session
Sorry.
is open to everyone, or you
Yeah.
in? Okay, we
Yeah.
are going to definitely. I would like to share a link where people can sign up.
Yeah.
Would it be?
Pleasure. So I'll share with you we have a Luma page
Yes.
where all our events are and people can sign up to the
Yeah.
events.
We can share it later. Like, don't worry about it right now.
Okay. I-
I want them to understand what is it that they can sign up for, right?
yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I've joined the Nest, and Nest was more a place for people who already know what Gathering of Tribes is about,
Exactly.
and sort of
Yeah.
having that conversation. And I also I do want to start joining the questioning regeneration series,
Yeah.
and I think maybe Rasser, if you want to join it with me, that would be so awesome because then I'm not the only newbie there.
Mm.
And right now I obviously told my viewers that we're going to do this today and that I would love their support, but at the same time I understand I'm streaming every day and it's not always possible to join all the time. We are going to keep this stream on my Twitch after we finish, and we're also going to publish it on Gathering of Tries YouTube. So whoever is watching us from the future, please definitely go down in the links and like down in the descriptions. We will paste all the links on how can you join this session or this session. But I would love some buddies to join me there because I want to go. And I do already know people, but like I know you and I know Victor and I know Hira and I'm getting to know more and more people, but it's still like, okay, I'm still the newbie. So it would be cool to have some more newbies with me.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. So the thing with the sessions is that I don't know. I really love them because yes, we do invite some people in person. So you have a few people that again really know a lot about the topic and so on. But the whole point of those sessions is that they're open sessions and that there is space for dialogue and that everyone can join because actually everyone has something to say about those things because that's the very basis of what we're doing, that it touches everyone, right? And the whole point of the spaces that are for now online is to gather all those different perspectives, right? And I'm not interested in only having 60-year-old philosophers talking about a topic because actually the perspective of a young person who may not have direct experience with this, with I don't know, working in region marketing, to go back to my example, um, is as valid as someone who's been in the sector for 30 years
Yeah.
because it's a perspective, right? And I truly believe that there is some element of truth and there's something we can all learn from every perspective. So for me, yeah, the more people can join
Yeah.
and the more we can sort of harness the power of that community and collectivity, the better and the more rich and nourishing for everyone the sessions will be. So yeah, open invitation for everyone to join.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm looking for buddies to join with me, but even if you guys don't come, I'm going to come anyway. And then Gathering of Tribes, happening in September in Portugal. Everyone is welcome as long as they are part of a tribe, correct?
Yes, correct. Yeah, you put your finger on the key thing. So we've redesigned the event compared to the first edition in a way that everyone is, okay, I don't like this word, I just don't have a better one right now, is attached,
Mm. Yeah.
is part of a tribe. What that means in very practical terms is that there's no open tickets. So if you go on our website, you won't have like buy your ticket for the Gathering of Tribes. You will have the list of all the camps, meaning all the organizations that are building a space there. And a lot of them will have open tickets, and you can basically feel into which one speaks to you the most, and which one you resonate with the most, and then go through that camp. And that means that depending on how the camps have designed themselves, right? There's a lot of different models. That's the whole point of the gathering, that it's a very free space for creativity and play. You can just join the camp and that's it. You buy your ticket and do your thing and enjoy the event. Or you can take part in co-creating sessions with the camp. Or yeah, there's a lot of formats basically.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Can I create
so
my own
everyone can
tribe?
join. But yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah.
I think if anyone comes with me, then they should come to my tribe.
That would be great. I was actually thinking about creating my camp. I mean, a camp, not my
Yeah.
camp.
Yeah.
And I wanted it to be around, I don't know. But yeah, I'm still ideating, but maybe we can create a camp together.
Yeah, I would love that. Because the thing is, how I got like introduced to Gathering of Tribes is through Florine, who is my friend, and then Leo, who is his business partner, and and then and I met this another guy. His name is Brian, and he's the DJ, and I love him so much. We actually became so close friends, you know. And then in between, it's you know now okay, you know people are creating tribes, but at the same time I'm getting to know more people and I'm like okay, I'm torn between, and I'm like maybe I should just do my own or like not my own, but yeah, like do a new one,
Touch
right?
space.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. It's such an like exciting, you know, place to be in, and
Mhm.
such exciting like it's so new and so fresh. I just want to jump in.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, I was reading an article that Victor was writing earlier, and the first paragraph. So the article was for any organization that may want to build a camp.
Yeah,
And the opening paragraph was, well, it's not that easy to explain what the gathering is because that's the whole point. It's never been done before, or at least not in that way. And it's a very free space that is a mix of many different things, right? Like to describe it, I always say that it's take a transformational festival like Boom or Ozora or the many others or Burning Man on one hand, and then take a business summit on the other, and try to see what happens if you throw them together. So if you try to have this really integrative, transformational music made up of dance and play and meeting people, but also really throw in there this idea that guys, we gotta work for it. Like the world is not looking great, honestly. We don't have that much time. We have to get together. It's not, it's fun and it's great, but also there is this pull of it doesn't feel right
yeah,
right now, actually. Like something needs to change, and I think that's what we all, I guess, agree on, right? This feeling that it doesn't feel right. Something isn't right in the world. But okay, it's fine. Let's just create a new one together, and I
yeah.
guess that's kind of the spirit. So yeah, it's quite exciting. I agree,
It's
and for us, it's been more and more exciting as we've been speaking to people. We've been doing a lot of outreach, finding people interested in regeneration on LinkedIn and through networks of networks and just speaking to them about what we're doing and what they're doing. And it's so beautiful to have this window over, oh my God, there is actually so many people doing amazing things in the world. Like we have no idea
yeah,
because we're just not speaking to them 8 hours a day usually, right? Um, and if you think that the gathering is going to be the space with 700 people for 5 days, all of them doing one or two or three or four or five amazing stuff, ranging from yoga to dance to music to businesses to, saving dolphins. It's really fascinating. Yeah, I'm curious about what's going to happen. My feeling is that there's going to be too much going on, and that people are going to be like, I'm missing too many cool sessions, and it's going to be
yeah,
hard to choose.
yeah.
But yeah, yeah.
I mean, but isn't that every festival? You know, you have
Yeah,
seven
true.
stages, and there's really good interprets in all of them. So it's
Very
it's
true.
okay. It's whatever
Yeah,
will come, and it will come for a reason. And if you're in that camp at that moment, then probably you're
yeah.
supposed to be there.
Yeah, it's gonna be a story of serendipity, I think.
Yeah,
Just like follow the movement and what needs to find you and who needs to find you will find you. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to say, before we started streaming, I told Audrey that um, my life is like one big unknown right now, but there is one thing that is known, that I want to be there in Portugal in September. Which day is it exactly? Which days?
11 to 15.
11 to 15th. If there's one stable thing in my life, that this is it, this is what I want to make happen. And then once I'm there on the 11th, then again, no plans. Wherever it takes me, it takes me, right? But such an opportunity, and it came to my life so randomly, you know. I am so grateful to know you, to know Victor, to even, I will tell them later after, about how I discovered this all, right? But tell me about how.
Wait, actually, I want to hear.
You
I'm
want to
curious.
hear? Okay.
Yeah, please.
Okay. I was about 11 or 12. I came home from school. I've just learned, I've just read somewhere that by 2050 there will be no fish in the sea. And I came to my mom and I told her, how dare you having a child in this, not economy, but like, why did you even have me? I'm not going to live my life in a nice planet. Yes, you will be dead by then, so you don't care,
Mm,
but I'm left here to the world that is burning due to, pollution, and the global warming, and the fish are dying, and already during my lifetime there are animals that are like extinct, and I don't want that. But I cannot just, erase myself. And then I decided that I don't want to have kids, and then it was this, okay, what can I do? Can I stop eating meat? Yes, I can do that. I didn't eat meat. Like, I started eating recently for health reasons, but very little, and I'm
mm,
trying to go for good sources. But yes, then like, I started to think all of those things that they tell you in TV or in news that you can do in your daily life to, the sustainable steps. But like, is sustainable enough? No.
mm,
And then I was 21, and then I realized, okay, no, I want to actually, I want my 8 to 16 hours a day that I'm willing to put into work. I want that work to go into actually changing things for the better. And sometimes it's this stream and me trying to talk to people, and helping to cheer them up because they're feeling awful. Even that is, yeah, I'm trying to change something for the better. But my bigger pull is towards animals. Animals have been my passion since I was very young, and if I can contribute to only one type of ant not going extinct, then I want to do that. I don't care, but
mm.
I want that to be my goal, my focus, my mission, my, what is the word that I always say and now I just forgot it?
Purpose?
Purpose. Purpose.
Mm. Yeah, I think it's super beautiful. Really beautiful also because I think it's easy to get lost in scale, especially when we talk about impact, like it's so easy for, I think, all of us to be like, yes, but if I don't have impact at that level, then it doesn't
Mm,
mean anything and it's not good enough and it's
mm,
not important enough and it's just not how it works,
mm.
actually. It's
And
not.
now,
It's exactly what you're saying. It's like, if you can save just one species of ant,
mm.
who
And even
knows?
that's huge, because then that,
Exactly.
butterfly effect, like,
Exactly.
yeah,
And it's what I was saying earlier about, you pull a bramble and we live in complex systems and you don't know what will come
yeah,
actually.
yeah,
And it's this, I mean, it's the butterfly effect, no?
yeah.
But it's really hard, I think, and beautiful to see it and to recognize it. And I mean, it's the concept of karma yoga also, no? It's like just do your bit
Yeah,
a lot.
do my bit.
Yeah.
The thing is with, as I started to tell you about the kids thing, right? So I was, you know, all my teenagers never gonna have kids. Like, why? What is the point? They're not gonna have a good life, right? Then I don't know what it was, but I no, I started babysitting, and I started to see that they respond to me so well, and I was thinking like
Right.
maybe I should actually like start like a preschool or like kindergarten, and I should teach the kids to care for you know, for the earth, for family,
Mm-hmm.
for the animals. And then you know, a lot of my friends, they were also telling me like, why would you have kids? The planet is overpopulated. Well, yes, it is, but it's not because we're having a lot of kids, it's because we're keeping people alive long. Right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
we are overpopulated, but humanity is getting older and older.
Mm-hmm.
And then I thought, you know, there are people who just don't give a shit, and they're gonna have multiple kids, and then they're never gonna teach them how to take care of the planet, and then the next generation is fucked, you know. But if I even just have my small baby and then I teach it how to, you know, even if I teach it how to take care of the planet how I'm taking care of the planet, then
Yeah.
already I'm doing something for the future generation.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there are so many small things, and like the way we're living, that already is something that is having a lot of impact. And you don't have to
Yeah.
save thousands. You just do your day by day, do no harm, and try to improve something a little bit.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. And I mean, we tend to lose track of time also, or we tend to think that our um, perception of time is the planet's. It's really not. You know, one lifetime for me is not even a millisecond for the planet.
Yeah,
So more and more you hear people who say the planet is going to be fine, guys. Humanity isn't. We might destroy ourselves as a species, but stop talking about the planet. The planet's completely fine. Just give it another million years, and even if we've, you know, messed it up, it will recover.
yeah,
We will be okay. Um, and this has also changed my perspective around like having kids because I was like, ah, okay, fine. So maybe it's more about, as you're saying, having kids if you feel like it,
yeah,
and thinking about like, how do I create the world that they would want to live in,
yeah,
and how do I raise them,
yeah.
right? Yeah.
I was having a talk exactly about this with a fellow yoga teacher today. And I just like, one of the things that I'm so looking forward to is making fun of my kids, right? Because when it's born and when it's a small baby, it doesn't know anything. So I'm gonna just, you know, lay it in front of me and I'm gonna say, "You never even saw a giraffe. How stupid are you?" You know? And I can't wait to show my kids the world, but I want that world to be really cool to show, you know. and
Yeah.
and also like, if, you know, there are billionaires spending money or trying to figure out how to move us to Mars, like, okay, if the animals are not going, I'm not going. So if we're
Yeah.
doing a Noah ark, then okay, maybe I can think about it, but no,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, for me animals is everything.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not that interested in the Mars story. Like, it doesn't
Right?
feel very attractive to me, I have to say. I'm like, it's a bit
Dusty.
far, guys. I'm
Imagine
not
how
into
much
it.
hoovering do you need to do.
Yeah, yeah, no. Yeah, let's just try to save this one, I
Yes.
think. Yeah.
I've seen this super cool video about when you just dump dust from. Fuck, I will mess it up because I don't know exactly which type of dust, but it's some type of dust that you just dump into ocean, and then plankton can work super super well. Like they multiply, and they, you know, they grow, and then
Yeah.
that plankton brings in all the animals, you know, all the bigger ones that can feed on that plankton. And I really wanted, like, I will find that video and I'll send it to you, and I'll also show them because it was so
Nice.
interesting. I just saw it last night and I can't stop thinking about it. Okay.
The kind of late night videos. Nice, nice,
Right,
nice.
right, but it's
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah. I have a
it's
lot of those, yeah.
yeah, it's dust that I know that Australians are shipping to China, I think, But what is China doing with the dust? I don't know. But we can we can take the dust and just dump it into ocean, and oh my god, it was mind blowing. I literally want to go to Australia. Just do it,
Yeah, the answers are already there. We just
right?
need to
So
bring them
many
up
of
to
them,
the surface.
and people care
All the
about
information is there.
Ocean
Yeah,
Gate
for
and
sure.
going
Yeah.
going to see Titanic. Who cares?
Yeah.
uh, it was so lovely to talk to you, Audrey. Thank you so much for
Thank you
this.
so much. It was super nice. I had a really good time. Appreciate you a lot. And yeah, we speak very soon.
Yes,
And
we
hope to
will.
see you and some others at the session. So yeah, next Wednesday, but tomorrow we also have an open session for those
Okay.
who want to join, which will just
Yes.
be about presenting the gathering. Yeah,
I will share everything on my Discord. I would also
perfect.
love to invite you there if you want to see
Please,
what's
please,
happening,
yeah, yeah,
and that way also people will know how to reach you, and if they have any questions they can yeah, let's connect even
nice.
more, because
Yeah.
I've been telling them, guys, I have this collaboration going on, you will see a lot of new faces, but yeah, we need some data.
Yeah, invite me. I can share some links. Super happy to answer any
Yeah.
questions. I'm around. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much for
Cool.
today,
Thanks so
and
much, Lydia. Ciao,
see you
ciao.
tomorrow. Bye.
Ciao.
Okay, my beautiful, beautiful friends. How was that for you? Did you like that? I'm so, first of all, so grateful for you sticking around. Next time, feel free to ask questions if there are any, of course. I also understand this topic is very new for you, so it's hard to even have questions when you're like you don't know what's happening. But yeah, I would like to tell you more about this whole collaboration, right? So imagine me being a small girl, very angry at her mom. Why did you even give birth to me? How dare you? you know? And then my mom's like, listen, you want to do something about it? You have your whole life. Go ahead, do. And then it took me some time to figure out what I even want to do, but I know my passion are animals. I know my passion are even animals that I'm scared of. I still want to save them. So um, that's something that I can focus on, and that's something that I have decided to pursue in my life. Did I choose the long way to study economics and work my way up and then maybe one day finally work on my purpose? Yes. Um, did I do it for the reason that I wanted to like have big impact? Like, as Audrey said, it's kind of my ego, Like I can't just save 10 dolphins. I want to save thousands of them, right? So is it ego? Yes. But then again, does that ego give me more drive? Yes. So I don't know the answers. I don't think anybody knows them. But as soon or as long as we do at least have the shared vision, then we can spark the conversation. And I'm so happy that Audrey was actually the first one to sort of introduce us to the space, because I hope to meet people who already have some answers, and me, or maybe they have even just more interesting questions, and maybe they will be able to spark an idea in me that will then lead to, oh, you know what, I should move to Costa Rica and go save turtles. Well, I kind of do want to go Costa Rica because I also want to just go surfing and do yoga. But you know what I mean? Like, I don't know what my life is bringing right now. And in the end, is it even about my life? Like, yeah, my reality is about my life, but why do you guys care about my life? Is it just interesting to watch, or is it that you really care for me and love me? What I'm trying to say is, if anything, this stream is a space for me to share. And I'm sharing what I find interesting, I'm sharing what I find important, and I'm sharing what I think can help others. I'm sharing my stories when they are hard. I'm sharing my stories when they are inspiring. And right now, I want to share my journey of pursuing my dream. And the fact that Gathering of Tribes came to my life the way it came to my, like, I didn't ask, you know, it's not like I approached them and I was like, hey, can I be a streamer for you? No, it was like, you know, just it's very beautiful coincidence if you believe in those. And in that coincidence, I got an opportunity to share my my hobbies, my passion, and then we found a way to combine those to help each other, you know, and through the space that I have here, I'm able to I'm able to introduce you to people that you probably wouldn't have met in any other way. And that's already enough for me. And I'm so grateful that you've spent this 1 hour with us. I also want you to know that this is going to be a regular thing. The TNT was the Tuesday Talks were actually created because of this, because I wanted to have one day dedicated for me interviewing people that I find interesting. And as you've heard, the Gathering of Tribes 2024 is happening in September. Until then, I hope to interview many interesting people who are going to be there. And if you think that that space, that Portugal, in like first half of September is somewhere where you want to be and you want to be there with me, then let me know, and let's build a tribe. Let's build a tribe of newbies. Let's build a tribe of people who don't know how but know what. And I don't know how I'm going to save the planet, but I know I want to put my hand in, you know. I want to dedicate my time on this planet to that cause, you know? And if it means that I will be in, you know, talent acquisition partner, then fuck it, I'll be it. If it means that I'll teach yoga, fuck it, I'll do it, you know? But like, for the cause, for the mission, like, I just don't want to go, you know, 9 to 5 job without any deeper meaning. Did this just get too deep? Stop me if you think it's, no, actually, you know what, no, don't stop me, this is my stream. I love you guys very much. I think I'm a little bit blabbering because one thing that you guys are used to is that I don't do script. I don't do, hey, these are the questions that I'm going to ask. I did have some prepared, but I also wanted the conversation with Audrey to be much more fluent. I wanted you to meet her the way that I met her, right? Which is a beautiful open person who's happy to share her story, and who's happy to explain in simple terms how the movement has developed in, you know, in her eyes, in front of her eyes, and how where it's going and where's her role in that. And I'm just like, wow, I'm you know, I'm blown away because I was expecting a lot and I received a lot more. So let's keep this going. Let's meet again with somebody else. I think next week it's going to be Hira, who is also a friend that I've met around the same time as Audrey. She's absolutely sweet, and I can't wait to interview her and hear her story about joining the Gathering of Tribes, and her work or her contribution to the cause. For today, I think I'm gonna take a break. Tomorrow we have a creative stream, and I don't know yet what I'm gonna be doing. So bear with me. Maybe drop me some ideas if you have any. I could be painting. I could also be knitting. I could also be candle making. I can, I'm the jack of all trades, so I can do a lot of stuff. But I'm also open to your suggestions. If there's something that you would like to see or to learn, then we can learn that together. But once again, thank you very, very much for our freestyle dance. Okay, this I did not expect. I can do freestyle. The thing is with with my body and showing it on stream, I kind of feel like it's what a lot of streamers do, and I don't want to be that type of streamer. But maybe I'll think about it. Okay. Rasser, thank you so much for being here today. Dova, thank you for popping in for the last 10 minutes as always. Look, I'm jesting and I'm kidding, and I love you and I love every moment that you decide to join. But as my mod, shouldn't you be here every time and all the time? Like, come on, are you even taking your job seriously? Uh, Anyway, thank you guys all for joining us today. I will see you again tomorrow, and we're gonna have some fun. And I'm gonna invite Audrey to our Discord, so she can also share some links for you guys. And let me know if you want to join the session tomorrow, because I really want to. That was the thing. Do you remember? I told you I feel like I have something on Saturday, but I don't remember what. That was the thing. Not that I don't remember. I just wasn't sure if it's this Wednesday or next Wednesday. But apparently there's two ongoing bi-weekly sessions, so basically every week there is a session to join, and I would like to actually block my calendar for all of them. So if you want to join with me, let me know, and we can do this as buddies and learn about regeneration, because honestly sustainability is like not enough anymore. We need to do more. Okay, guys, have a wonderful evening. I will talk to you again tomorrow, and thank you so much for being here with us today. Good night.